just too much violence on TV these days.
I know.
They've just forgotten how to make pictures.
I know.
You know, it'd be great if we could go back in time to the good old days.
Now, what would you do differently if you could go back in time?
Well, in the first place, I'd tell you that you were my girl much sooner than I did.
Oh, you would, huh?
Yes, I would.
And then what?
And then I would take you to the Carlsbad Theater.
Carlsbad, California, a fast-growing city nestled along the coast in between Los Angeles and San Diego. Over 60,000 people live in Carlsbad, and for many good reasons. The climate, the people, and its character. Those are the same reasons why, 60 years ago, Carlsbad put up its own theater. Built in 1926, the Carlsbad Theater has seen a lot come and go. Sean Jones, a local history teacher, has studied the theater in detail.
You know, the history of the Carlsbad Theater, what's really interesting about the history of the Carlsbad Theater is it not only shows Carlsbad where it's been and its different places in history, but it also sort of parallels American history if you look at it. It was built during the 1920s with a lot of confidence in business, the Roaring '20s when we were having such prosperity in this country. It was closed during the 1930s, the Great Depression. In fact, it even housed some WPA orchestra concerts there. During the 1940s, it reopened with a revival of business thanks to the growth of demand, thanks to World War II. It reopened as a movie theater, and they even sold war bonds there, and enjoyed the prosperity of the late 40s and 50s. And then during the 60s, they tried to take it a step higher than just a business, trying to sort of during the Camelot years, they tried to add foreign films and live theater there, trying to bring a little culture to Carlsbad. And during the economic chaos of the 70s, it sort of fell into disrepair. And now during the 80s and 90s, it's kind of a question mark what will happen to the Carlsbad Theater. We're still waiting to see what happens, what's going to end this story.
Since 1927, the Carlsbad Theater has been opened under many different names, such as the Village Theater and the Iris Theater. It has also been operated under several different owners, some being more successful than others. Yet, it was probably the first original group that enjoyed success the most. A.J. Clark and the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce. A.J. Clark owned and operated several businesses throughout Oceanside and Carlsbad, such as Clark's Campground at the Oceanside Pier and Clark's Cottages on the beachfront property. He even owned and operated the Palomar Theater with great success. A.J. Clark came to the Chamber of Commerce in 1926 asking for support in building Carlsbad's first theater. And it was his successful record in operating the Palomar Theater in Oceanside that convinced the Chamber that having a theater in Carlsbad was a good idea. Opening night, February 8th, 1927. The Carlsbad Theater had a full house of over 600 people. It was said to be the finest movie theater between San Diego and Los Angeles. A.J. Clark and the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce were standing proud as they rolled their first movie, It, starring Clara Bow. It was a top-notch movie for a top-notch theater. The movie It came from a short story written by Eleanor Glynn. According to Glynn, the word it has a purely virile quality belonging to a strong character. The possessor of it must be full of confidence and entirely unself-conscious. It is a strange magnetism which attracts both sexes. This is why A.J. Clark felt this movie was perfect for opening night. Because he knew that the Carlsbad Theater had it. Success did not stop after the opening night. In the 1930s, the theater was used as a drama class for the Army-Navy Academy. The drama teacher, Virginia Atkinson, was exceptional at getting people to show their talent. One student that stood out from all the rest was Robert Walker. He was full of talent but had never done any acting until he met Virginia Atkinson, and she introduced him to the stage of the Carlsbad Theater.
And Robert Walker knew very early on exactly what he wanted to do. He had been a quiet kid, very well reserved. He had found a talent in music and drumming and later on in acting through Virginia Atkinson, and she encouraged him to get out on stage. And he was so good at this, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to go on to Hollywood. After he left the Army-Navy Academy, he studied acting in New York. Eventually, he and his wife, Jennifer Jones, would be picked up by MGM Studios and signed to contracts, and he, during the 40s and early 50s, starred in a number of major motion pictures in Hollywood. He played with such people as Judy Garland, Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn, Ava Gardner, Burt Lancaster, some really great films. Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train, also included One Touch of Venus, The Clock with Judy Garland, Vengeance Valley, just some really great films until his career was tragically cut short in the early 50s by an early death.
Let's say that you'd like to get rid of your wife.
It's a morbid thought.
No. Just suppose. Let's say that you had a very good reason.
No, let's.
Let's say. Now, you'd be afraid to kill her. You know why? You'd get caught. And what would trip you up? The motive. Now, here's my idea.
I'm afraid I haven't got time to listen, Bruce.
Listen, it's so simple, too. Two fellows meet accidentally, like you and me. No connection between them at all, never saw each other before. Each one has somebody that he'd like to get rid of. So, they swap murders.
Swap murders?
Each fellow does the other fellow's murder, then there's nothing to connect them. Each one has murdered a total stranger. Like, you do my murder, I do yours.
Robert Walker's dream of becoming a successful Hollywood actor came true. His hard work and rich talent paid off. Robert Walker co-starred and worked with some of the best in Hollywood, like Judy Garland, Shirley Temple, Spencer Tracy and Alfred Hitchcock, and many other Hollywood greats. And it was at the Carlsbad Theater where Robert Walker first uncovered his acting abilities. The theater has changed lives as many times as it has changed itself. It holds many memories for some, And from as long ago as 1926, people have enjoyed the theater's operation. And even when it wasn't operating, people still enjoyed its presence.
Well, when I moved here with my parents in about end of 1944, one of the first things you do was go to the show, right? Because there wasn't anything else to do except listen to the radio. So as a youngster, I went down quite a bit. And in the middle 40s, the theater was an utter disaster. There was big holes in the screen, and there was bats flying around. And one of the pastime for us young guys was to take some brooms, hide it under our shirt and our pant leg, and walk in there and see if we could hit the bats when they flew by. Needless to say, we very seldom ever got one, but we tried.
Milk Duds and Jujubes at the Carlsbad Theater, and they had Saturday matinees. Well, it would be wonderful if it could become a community use facility. I think there's a lot of music. Music would be wonderful in there. Plays, programs, it has all kinds of potential, and the city is very scarce of that kind of space.
Being very interested in movies, and certainly of something that looked historical, I was interested in the theater. However, it had been closed most of the time I'd been here. So anyway, I walked in the front door and just introduced myself to the new owner and said if there was history involved, that maybe I could offer my services. I was a local history teacher. I am a local history teacher, and could offer my services in researching the history of this theater, and they were very willing to allow me access to the theater, and were interested in me finding out a little bit more about the story of the Carlsbad Theater. None of us at the time had any inkling of what a treasure chest of stories and history and really just fascinating little anecdotes this theater was. And as we started to uncover the history, it became more and more interesting.
And we all went, and naturally, I was small when I was a child, real small. So when I got past the 12-year-old stage, I still went in as a 12-year-old, until one of the ladies that was a ticket taker happened to know me and says, "Lefty, how come you're coming in here as a 12-year-old? I know you're 14. So there ended my cheap way of going into the movies.
Well, it was a real focus for entertainment and for activity at one time, as all of downtown was. And it would be nice to have that again, and I think it would be it would bring people to Carlsbad, because that intimate atmosphere is not something that you find at shopping centers. You only find them in small urban areas, and it would be a really nice thing. But I don't know how it's going to happen.
Memories of the Carlsbad Theater will be with some people forever. It's been over 60 years since the theater was first put into operation in downtown Carlsbad, and it's quite possible that the theater will keep shedding new memories for all those who enter through its magical doors.